Should you take a halal mortgage? Well, this is a big question that so many of you have asked me, and I'm going to address it now because halal mortgages are bloody expensive in comparison to standard mortgages. And let's face it, they're very much the same. It's a home loan, right? And all the terms are very similar, except for they've got the wording changed or they're dressed differently. So why the hell should you take a halal mortgage over a conventional one? I've been wanting to deliver the answer to you so that you guys can make your own informed choice. And I'm going to put it in terms that hopefully you will understand. So you've got different halal mortgage providers. Some of them add a charge to the overall loan and divide it up. Some of them become co-owners with you. The way that the contract has been written, it complies with Sharia, which means that it can be labelled halal. It is Sharia compliant. The wording doesn't say interest. It doesn't say riba. It will say charge instead. And many of you have said that what difference does it make? Because they're still charging you, they're just changing the words on it. I even spoke to a mufti who wanted me to get the conventional mortgage lender to change the wording so that it was compliant with the wording of Sharia, making it halal. Well, let me tell you something. There is one big difference, and I've spoken to many people who have got the halal mortgage, which is more expensive, and it's significantly more expensive. And the one thing that came transparent out of everyone's experience was clear. And that's what I'm going to try and explain to you. And that is that when you follow the rules, right? When you follow the guidance and your contract between you and the provider works under a Sharia ruling, it makes your arrangement with that loan provider halal. But bigger than that is the fact that because you are doing your best to, in the dunya that we live in right now, that is literally debt driven, for you to be able to do anything, because you are doing your best to comply with those rules in accordance with, like, it being a trade rather than it being you purchasing a house and having a loan against that property and the lender then having a first charge over it, so still having that control over you. The Sharia compliant contract has a fairness to it. It has a transparency to it. But beyond that, like, the spiritual element is, if you are a believer, that when you do something that is according to Allah's will, that is pleasing to Allah, the barakah follows. So just because you're paying more money on that piece of paper, that contract, it says you're paying more, but trust that the barakah will follow to help you pay that extra amount. I'm telling you, based on conversations that I've had with people who had conventional, and there was no barakah in it whatsoever. And for that reason, me, Saira Hayati, Making Money Makes Sense, and the rest is saying that if you have got a conventional mortgage, switch it up to a halal mortgage.